What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. The week that everyone has been waiting for is finally here. I want to break it down on some of the current data points, what is going to cause some volatility throughout the week aside from Monday, and where I see things going. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Friday, it did close as anticipated, so a nice little run near power hour. So it closed at 3.69% in the green. It pushed higher than $8, so closed at $8.11 after hours. So this is literally the definition of FOMO. In my opinion, it would have started a little bit sooner, but still beside the point. If you kind of look back over the last several trading days, SoFi did do fairly well. But aside from that, when it comes down to this upcoming week, I think everyone is going to be very excited for their earnings. Options, as I pointed out, is signaling higher than $10 is coming, which you never know, it could happen. I think a 10, 15, 20% swing from these prices is very feasible, because SoFi, in comparison to a lot of other fintechs, is at a pretty substantial discount. I don't know if it's correlated with just shorts and just being manipulated that way, but still it could be seen at a pretty good discount. And when it comes down to Q1 numbers, I think a lot of signals are pointing that member growth is just going to be next level, because the web traffic in Q1 was record numbers, and usually that's been a very good correlation with obviously the actual results and the performance. So in reality, I think member growth goes up, deposits go up, then as well products, everyone's happy, the ring around rosy kind of thing, everyone's happy. So I think SoFi's earnings is going to be phenomenal. I think analysts at the same time try to look for fault. So this is where you'll see a very quick spike up, in my opinion, as what typically has happened in the past. But what is going to be the deciding factor, as backwards as it is analysts. So are there going to be analysts such as David that comes out and gives a $3, $4 price target? I think that would kill the momentum right quick, and it has done that in the past. So once again, despite the actual true results of SoFi's earnings, I think it will come down to analysts and what they truly feel, because I cover quite a lot of stocks under many of my different channels, and SoFi single-handedly is one of the most manipulated ones by analysts. Seems like an analyst says $3 and the market takes it for complete face value and causes the stock to go down. So I do feel that there is going to be a very big spike up. Whether it sticks around is going to be dependent on the external indirect factors, as bad as that sounds. So aside from SoFi's earnings though, Monday and Tuesday is going to be largely companies unveiling their earnings and SoFi's technicals. So you do have SoFi, PayPal, Amazon. The rest of the week, a lot of big names. You have good old Apple, so who knows, that could really make or break the broader market. And even on a data standpoint, so you do have, starting on Wednesday, ADP non-farm employment, so 2 consumer linked data points. So you have that one. Then as well on Friday, you have payroll, and then the Fed's decision rate as well, going back to Wednesday. It is fair to assume that there's not going to be any rate cuts or hikes. I think that's kind of common knowledge, but what is going to be said afterwards, as what has happened in the past, is going to dictate whether the market goes higher, lower, side, loop-de-loop. So yeah, definitely it's going to be a very volatile week, but I think we'll have a little bit of clarity. And one thing as well, going back to their earnings, one thing that I do feel that the market is going to take as a very strong positive is rate cuts. Because right now I feel like the consensus among the market is that there's going to be one rate cut. And Chris, which previously, I think last earnings, did state that built into their forecast is 3. Might have been 4, but I believe it was 3. I think in reality, based on a lot of the brick and mortar banks, when they did unveil their earnings, they did not seem phased at all, in fact, by interest rates. So I feel like Chris might come out and say, you know what, we're anticipating 1 or readjusting or something. It's just not really dependent on the 3 to kind of ensure success, if that makes sense. I might be saying that wrong, but I feel like Chris is going to come out and say that they're only depending on 1 rate cut. And so that is very optimistic, at least for the remaining part of 2024. So raising guidance in essence, if that kind of of again makes sense. I feel like I'm saying it weird, but hopefully it does make sense. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Looking at the fear and greed index, you do see it at 42. Last week it was at 32, so people's appetite for risk is going up slightly. So I think it's just everyone's going to be watching the data points. Shorts, no doubtably, even though they did return 532,000 shares on Friday, if earnings are bad, you can bet that they are going to double down and laugh, and probably it would reach maybe all-time high short interest once again, roughly around 22.5%. So currently 18.71% of the free float is being shorted, utilization 73.21%. 185.69 million shares overall are being shorted, and then cost to borrow average 1.05%. And so I just wanted to talk briefly on the technicals. So you kind of have to take that for face value because SoFi's earnings is going to change all of that. But on Monday, you're going to see a little bump up regardless of their earnings because of options. So this right here is the open interest, what recently did expire as of April 26th expiry date. So you do have, with SoFi closing above 750, 19,000 in open interest. So that's going to be covered by market makers, whether it be pre-market or during the trading day. But regardless, market makers are going to buy that, causing a nice spike up in the price. One thing I did want to bring up though, that I feel like some people might be saying it wrong or maybe not understanding, but there is 25,000 at the $8 strike price. That is going to be expiring worthless. And I know some of you might be saying, but hold on, it went up past $8 after hours. Technically, options is only during business days. And I know this for like real, like in the past, like this has my own personal encounters with this, and plus aside from that I've done deep research and everything else. So it is only during the actual trading day. So with it closing at 787, that is what is options being based on, right? So essentially with it running up, yeah, that's good. But technically though, it won't really automatically exercise these, which could still be done. Keep in mind, there's two different ways, right? Someone can automatically exercise it. So that means they call up their broker and say, hey, you know what? This technically did expire worthless, but I want to exercise it. Anyone can do that. Even if you have like 10.50 strike prices, 11, 12, you can just automatically exercise it. Doesn't always make sense, but you have to call your broker to do that. So if you do have these options at that $8 or $8 strike price, then yeah, just call your broker and they can do that. But technically, like it is going to be automatically just expired worthless. So just be aware of that. So you're not going to have this being bought during the market day or the pre-market or during the trading day. You are going to have the 750. But aside from all of that, which I'm probably confused you guys on that a little bit, but I just wanted to point out the options volume from Friday. Immense. This is insane. So this is where if SoFi does have a nice spike up and it sticks around, this is where you could see a very nice gamma squeeze / maybe even a short squeeze, possibly, because look at this volume that was getting in on Friday. That is insane. So this is where I've pointed out that there is a consensus that it is going to be between the $9 to $10 range or in excess of that. So you never know. Logically, it does make sense. And you do see a lot around that 1150 as well. So a lot of people have a lot of high expectations for SoFi's earnings, and justifiably so, right? So let me know your thoughts if you think it's going to get to these levels, or do you think it's going to be more of a traditional type of scenario where it has a quick spike up and then it sells off, like I said, because of analyst ratings. One final thing I just wanted to cap it off is just support and resistance points. Like I said, earnings is going to change the dynamic of this, but take note of some of the strong support and resistance points. So with it at 787, it is successfully above this pivot point of 775. So I did say that most likely it is going to be above that or close to that near the tail end of the trading day, and it did get there. Of course, it pulled up higher, so into this range right here, so kind of mid pivot to the R1. So going into this upcoming week, just take note of some of the strong support and resistance points. So 863, 918, and then 1006. And then aside from that, if it does sell off, I don't really want to talk all about that, but you never know. It could happen, right? You have to see both good, bad, and the ugly. Then it would be 686, 632, and then 543. Worst case scenario. But on Friday, it did successfully transition above that 50-day moving average. So the technicals are looking fairly primed and ready for continuation of a nice run up. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Have you been a buyer? I did buy, I think it was 10-15 shares, very small amount to be mind you, but I wanted to be a part of the FOMO, so I actually did buy somewhere around here. I think it was like 785. That's what it got filled at. So I wanted to be part of the FOMO. Why not, right? So I am very happy. I think if it does spike, I'll be hedging with just covered calls just to kind of lock in some profits. But still, we'll just have to wait and see what does happen. I think it's going to be a very, very exciting week and hopefully push SoFi back into the double digits. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with all that, hopefully all of you guys are having a good weekend. I appreciate all of you guys watching.